Coach, I'll open with a comment. Well, raise your hand if you don't mind.
How's everybody doing today? Good. Well, it's kind of good to get the players back, and I think they were anxious to get started working, and we're certainly anxious to get started with them. The energy and enthusiasm was good. The focus seemed to be good. The challenge for these games is always how do you maintain your focus? How can you maintain the focus that you have? These first few practices will certainly work on, fundamentals and trying to get guys back into condition, get a lot of reps to try to get the turns they need to get them back where they need to be, knock the rust off a little bit. Obviously too early to tell where we're at, but I was pleased with the effort and the intensity that we had in practice today. We had, I don't know for sure how many, 20-some guys graduated on Saturday, and we already had 9 guys that had their degrees, so we'll have 29 guys in, this game that have already graduated from school, which we're very, very proud of, and proud of the job that the people in the academic support program do in helping our players graduate, and having an 86% graduation rate is something that we're very, very proud of. So, we also had a significant number of award winners that we recognized today, and I'm not going to go through them all right now, but it's always great to see players who've done a great job all year long, not only in their performance but also in their leadership, get recognized with winning individual awards or making All-American teams. But I thought it was especially something special that the offensive line got the first annual Joe Moore Award today. Joe Moore was a legendary offensive line coach at Pitt and Notre Dame, and a good friend of mine years back. And some of his former players wanted to recognize the offensive line that they thought did the most for their team. So our players were really excited, and I was excited because this is a group award. Most of these awards that people get are for individual performances, and none of them would be possible if it wasn't for their teammates and their team. And, most of our guys always recognize, that fact when they accept awards. But this one was especially fulfilling for me to see the guys that get very little credit, get their name in the paper, don't get to score touchdowns, get recognized for something that they accomplished. So we don't have any significant injuries. We didn't have anybody out of practice today. We didn't get anybody injured, in practice today. So, tomorrow we change the schedule a little bit and actually practice from about 2:30 to 4:30.
Start right here with Aaron.
Nick, before the season started, you'd mentioned that last year you thought maybe it was a distraction, players getting ready, deciding whether they were going to go to the draft. What did you learn from that, and how do you maybe avoid some of that this year?
Well, I don't know that we can control it all. I think it's up to the individual players staying focused on what's happening right now. So I think it benefits every guy that has an opportunity to play at the next level to play well in this game. I think the history here has been guys that play well and finish well here actually move up. Guys that don't finish well don't and move down in some cases. So this is not something that I feel like players are really that focused on this year. This team seems to really be focused on the opportunity that they have. I didn't feel that our team was as committed at this point last year, and we obviously didn't show that in how we prepared and how we played in the game. So we're playing a really good team. I think everybody respects the team that we're playing. They certainly have an outstanding quarterback. They can run the ball effectively. This might arguably be the best quarterback that we played against all year long. Their defense plays with a lot of toughness, very aggressive, has statistically been very successful all season long and hard to score on. They're very well coached. They play well in special teams. So, I don't think there's any bad teams in the playoffs. And this is a very, very good team that we're playing, and they have really a lot of grit. They won a lot of games in the fourth quarter, 3 games on the last play of the game. So they find a way to win, and they hang in there, and they know how to finish. So it's going to be important that we take the same sort of characteristics psychologically into this game so that we can finish and play strong in the fourth quarter.
Back with Matt. Oh, sorry. Michael's fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
What was the moment you saw Jake where it seemed to click for him, where he seemed to put it all together this year? What moment was that for you?
I don't know that it was any particular moment. I think that when he went in the Ole Miss game for the first time, coming off the bench, the guy competed and played and ran the ball and made some great throws, and I think he won the team over with the way he competed in the game, and I think that was probably the most significant thing that happened for Jake. And I think, rather than worrying about what he was supposed to do and trying to be perfect, he just went out and played for the first time, and I think he gained a lot of confidence. I think we gained a lot of confidence. I think the players gained a lot of confidence, and since that time, there's been no doubt who the leader of the offensive team is.
Back to this side of Cecil.
Coach, since this has been a lot of news since the last time we talked to you, this is the first chance we've had since Jeremy was rehired, and I was just curious how that came about and also how that went today. Was there any pushing and shoving or anything?
Well, Jeremy's not allowed to coach. He is allowed to recruit because the guys that have left our staff are not recruiting for us, but they are finishing. And I think, it speaks volumes for Kirby, character and all that he has to want to come back and finish when it may not be the most advantageous thing for him in his future. To do right by the players and come back and finish and do a good job for the guys that have worked hard for him and had a lot of success with our defensive team this year. But Jeremy is not really allowed to coach, so he can't coach on the field. He can watch practice and observe, and he can't coach players and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's in the learning mode right now. But I think the reason being is Jeremy was here with us for 5 or 6 years, on the field for 2 or 3. Did an absolute outstanding job with some very good secondaries and some very good teams. Won a couple championships here, went to Florida State as a coordinator, won a championship there, and I think improved Georgia's defense significantly in his stay there. So it's always difficult to find someone who knows our system and our scheme. So to be able to bring somebody back like that, I think really helps. New energy, new enthusiasm, new ideas, but somebody who really understands what we do. So it was a no-brainer for me to bring Jeremy back. He also did a great job of recruiting while he was here.
Back left with Matt.
And just to follow up on Jeremy, was he somebody who was at the top of the list for you right away when you found out about Kirby being in the mix and taking the Georgia job? And what was the process like for you in terms of interviewing other people and just deciding that Jeremy would be?
Well, I said it was a no-brainer, so it was a no-brainer. So when it's a no-brainer, I don't know that there is a process. What's no-brainer mean to you? I don't know. What it means to me, I'll define it, is there was no doubt about who I was going to hire. Didn't interview anybody, didn't talk to anybody, just hired the guy. So I worked here for 6 years. Maybe I should have called some people to find out how good he was or what he could do well and all that kind of stuff and get some recommendation on him, but so.
Back up front with Mark.
Hey, just wondering what you learned from the process of managing the playoff run last year, and if anything, can you take from that to tweak this year's process?
Well, we certainly didn't do a very good job last year. I felt like our players did not approach the game like a playoff game. They approached it more like a bowl game, which was obviously not our intention, not what we tried to sell to them in terms of what they needed to do. I think they felt a little entitled when they won the SEC championship and just didn't really want to. Look, this is a new season. All right, so when you get into a new season, what you've done in the past doesn't have anything to do with what you're going to do moving forward. And it's hard to carry the momentum of the season to a game that is 3.5, 4 weeks away from the last time you played. So the players have to refocus, and they can be happy about what they've accomplished, but they also can't be satisfied. And I asked the players that, are you satisfied? And not only are you not satisfied, are you willing to do the work that you need to do to get ready to play really good teams like we're going to have to play in the playoffs? And there's no easy way to do that. So, and based on how they started out today, I would say that that part of their attitude is a lot better.
Front left, Jeff.
After having coached at Michigan State, what impresses you the most about what Coach D'Antonio has done there?
Well, I think Mark has done far more than I ever dreamed that I could have ever done at Michigan State. Of course, it was a different time and a different circumstance when I was there. We were coming off of probation. We were short scholarships for 3 or 4 years. But Mark has just done an outstanding job of evaluating players, getting good players to come there, improving the team every year he's been there, and doing a great job of developing the players that he has and establishing a sort of winning character on his team about how they play with toughness and the grit that they have and with the way they finish games and believe each other and the team chemistry they have. It's really something that's special, and I just can't tell you. I mean, I spent 10 years at Michigan State. 5 years as a defensive coordinator, we won 1 Big Ten. 5 years as a head coach, we didn't win any Big Tens. We had one really good team at the end, but we didn't win the Big Ten. And I think he's won 3. So, I mean, I think it's unprecedented what he's done there. And I always thought that Michigan State was a fantastic place, a great school. I love it there. I've got a lot of good friends there. And there's great people at Michigan State. They have a great administration, good athletic director. You know, Tommy's had great success with the basketball program for many, many years. So I think Mark has done a phenomenal job, you know, no question about it. And I can't say enough about the job that he's done.
Same side with John Zena.
Players have talked a lot about the team meeting they had after the Ole Miss game. Is that something that you like to see when a team maybe takes ownership? And did you see an impact from that time?
Well, I don't think there's any question that our team responded the right way to a loss in terms of the willingness to work and improve and pay more attention to detail and try to do the little things right and the things that you emphasize as a coach, whether it's ball security, you know, people being responsible for their own self-determination and being able to do their job on a more consistent basis. I think everybody elevated the level of intensity and the standard of that they were holding themselves accountable for their play, and whether it came from that meeting or wherever it came from, all I can say is the players responded the right way to a loss, and we started to make progress as a team, and I was very pleased with the way these guys responded to every challenge the rest of the season.
Back with Joe.
Hey, Coach, you've had success this season with a transfer quarterback in Jay Coker, and transfer quarterbacks, particularly graduate transfer quarterbacks, are becoming more commonplace in college football. From your standpoint, what concerns do you have, or what considerations do you need to take when you're looking at a transfer coming in, particularly at that position?
Well, I think first of all, he's got to be a good fit for what you want with the offense that you have, and I also think that you have to give plenty of respect to the players that you have in the organization right now who are trying to develop. So I would say those two things would be the most critical. But one thing that transfer guys can give you when they've been 2 or 3 year starters at some place is you get an experienced guy in the program when maybe you don't have someone coming along that way. So you sort of minimize the risk, you know, that you have to take the next season by doing that. But I think the guy has got to be a good fit for what you want to do.
2 more, Ken, and then John Talton.
Just wanted to go back to the offensive line. For a good part of the year, that was kind of a unit in transition. But, you know, how did you see them evolve? And when was there a key stretch of games that maybe they kind of got the identity that you were looking for?
I think consistency in performance was always the issue early in the season, maybe in the first half of the season, you know, with our offensive line. I do think that probably from the bye week on, the LSU game on, they probably played their best, but I think they made steady progress throughout the season. I know that early on we had lots of negative plays, lots of missed assignments. and we started to minimize that, and I think their confidence grew, confidence in each other as well as what we were asking them to do, and we obviously did a little better job of helping them out based on how we practiced, what we practiced, giving them the reps that they needed to be able to go out and execute better, and I certainly think that the improvement they made was a real key to our success throughout especially at the end of the season.
You recently talked about kind of the setup you had when you were at the Browns, and then you took the Michigan State job, which is interesting, just kind of how Kirby's handled that transition and what, if any, advice you've given to him in the last week or two as he's kind of been all over the place.
Well, first of all, we have a lot of respect for Kirby, and I know what kind of person he is, I know what kind of competitor he is, and I know that he wants to do a great job for our players. I also think that it will be a tremendous benefit to him. He'll get lots of recognition coaching in this game. There'll be a lot of people out there watching the game, and I'm sure it'll get mentioned a few times that he's going to be the head coach of an SEC school, and I know he wants to do a good job because of that. And we're trying to help him manage his time so that he can do a good job for us and still do what he needs to do for them. And so far, I think that's working out okay.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.